All right, great to have you with us. We'll open right up. We've got a very busy hour coming up straight ahead. And joining us from across the pond by virtue of Skype is Dr. Stephen Simpson. You'll enjoy this. You really will. He's a private mind coach. He is very active in terms of having worked with the PGA, European Golf Tour, World Poker Tour. And as a matter of fact, gave someone advice who went out and won $1 million. I wish you could work with me, Dr. Simpson. He's a mind coach, presenter, and fellow of the Royal Society of Medicine. He's got a book out that he spent a lot of time writing, and I have to tell you, it's really quite informative. Get Lucky Now, The 7 Secrets of Lucky People. It's published through Create Space, and you've asked me to call you Stephen, so I welcome you to the show, and a pleasure having you on.
Thank you very much, Stu. Good morning to you and to all of your listeners, and I'm very happy to be on your show.
Very happy to have you. You know, I've always said, and I didn't read your book, but, you know, a lot of us have an opinion on luck. I've always said in most cases, you really create your own luck, and a lot of people use this as an excuse that some people are lucky and others aren't. I think you can create your own luck. Can you create your own luck, and is it random?
Well, I certainly do believe you can create your luck. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent the last 2.5 years researching this subject and helping my clients to get lucky. And that doesn't mean to say that I can help people to win the lottery or huge sums of money like that. But everybody can have a little more luck in their life. And luck is one of those things where a little more can make a huge amount of difference, not only to what you achieve in life, but the enjoyment you have doing it.
Right, and different people look upon different incentives. Some people want money, some people want quality of life. We all have different objectives, but luck plays into all of them. I want to give the website as well, by the way. It's drstephensimpson.com if you want more information on it. So you say that it's actually a process. You know, a lot of people out there think, aha, lightning will strike, this is my turn, I just won the lottery. Nothing to think about, it just happens. But you say there's a process. What is the process?
Well, the process is in my book, and you mentioned earlier that you would be interested in winning $1 million playing poker. My advice to you, actually, Stu, with respect, is to stick to your day job. Because there are a few skills that you need to be a top poker player, and I work with the top player in the world, and I wouldn't play him for any kind of money at all. So anyway, I talk about the 7 secrets. Now, 6 of them are pretty logical, and I don't think that too many people would argue with them, and they are definitely processes that anybody can follow. And just like most things in life, the more you work at it, the more attention you put there, your chances of attracting luck are going to grow.
I'm just going to interject, Stephen. So if I go through the 10,000 hour thing, you know, I could become an expert and I'll increase my chances exponentially, right?
Yeah. Well, interesting you should mention the 10,000 hours, because that is in my book, because I keep reading and hearing about that all the time. And as a mind coach, if I was to believe that, it would put me out of business. Well, it would certainly make my business tougher, because when people read that, especially young people, it puts them off. They think 10,000 hours. Then they start working out, well, how long is that? And then they probably come to roughly, that's 10 years. 10 years for me to be an expert. And so I actually researched that, and I tracked down the original paper, and I think it was published in 1993 or something by some Swedish researchers, and they studied musicians, and they said they could basically take their population, and those that had practiced their violin or piano for 10,000 hours, they'd say, okay, you can be a soloist. If you've only done 8,000, you can be in the orchestra, but we'll hide you around the back somewhere. And if you've done 6,000, and this is a terrible thing to say about teachers, they say, well, you can be a teacher. Personally, I think teachers are probably more important than the soloists, but that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, of course, everything is, the devil's in the detail, the devil's in statistics. And the authors knew this, and they recognized they weren't dealing with a random population of people. How many kids have got 10,000 hours? How many kids can afford the lessons and the violins and all the rest of it? They were dealing with people who were already talented. So I don't think it doesn't have to take 10,000 hours, but having said that, there is no question that successful people are driven by their passion, they love what they're doing, and they certainly do clock up a lot of hours without actually counting them.
It's going to be difficult in lieu of time to go through the 7 steps. So let me just segue here to the fact that is it the probability, I believe, of creating a lucky opportunity is to be effective as opposed to efficient. You know, people go to bus, they make their bus schedule, their plane schedule, they're at work on time. However, if an opportunity comes up, a lucky opportunity, then you got to forget about all the other stuff because, for example, yesterday's horse race results won't do you any good today.
Probably that's another area that I wouldn't encourage you to get into. But actually, we can learn from history. And I guess if you look at the history of horse races, you might get better at predicting the future or seeing what the options are likely to be. But anyway, your main point, and it sounds as if you have read my book already, or maybe it's just rubbed off by immersion or something. But you mentioned opportunities, spotting opportunities, and in the first chapter of my book, I say the quality. We all want to be lucky for sure, but the one quality that is so closely related to luck is intuition. I think lucky people are more deeply connected to their intuitive self than other people, which is why they spot the opportunities. And indeed, that's the subject of a big TV program over here in the UK that I hope to be helping with, which is being filmed next week. So, intuition, that's it. That's what we all need more of.
We all need it. I don't know. And again, it brings the old question: can you create intuition? Can you make someone who's an introvert an extrovert? Can you assign leadership qualities to those who, in a sense, don't have it? I'm not sure you have the answer to those questions, but if you can figure out how to work on it, I guess we're talking about probability increasing. Can you give us just a couple of examples whom you might refer to in the past who, whether it's in the military, whether it's in politics, business, culturally, who have taken advantage of what you talk about?
There are so many.
We're probably only going to have time for one because we've only got a minute and a half or 2 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll go for Napoleon Bonaparte. I know that he came to a sticky end, but for a time he was, the greatest leader in Europe and probably throughout the world. And when he was asked, the secret of his success, he said, "Well, I just select the right generals. I choose generals who are lucky." And so many business leaders now, when they're being interviewed, and people ask, you've probably asked them, what do you attribute your success to? So many of them are pretty humble and modest, and they say, "Well, I've just had an enormous amount of luck." Well, the difference between them and people who are less successful is that they recognize that and they've developed this intuition. Now, one very quick thing that's in the book, it's one of the secrets, is mindfulness. There has never been a generation like us that is less mindful because the way of life now, the rapidly breaking news, texting, all the rest of it, how can you be mindful when you're having all of this bombardment of information all the time? And the kids at school are even worse. I mean, the teachers must have a nightmare of a job with them. So we have to learn to be more mindful for certain.
All right. And I have a lot of questions, but let me see if I can create some luck for the listener by having you conclude with a statement or a summarization for those who want to buy the book. And again, the book is Get Lucky Now, The 7 Secrets of Lucky People by Dr. Stephen Simpson. A concluding statement or two.
Well, don't make this too much of a sweat. People have probably been told from school onwards that the harder they work, the luckier they get. And we've touched on that, and there's some truth in it. But it's far from being the whole truth. Because the whole truth is that when people do what they like doing, when they start having fun, they start getting good at stuff. So if something is a real grind, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Look at the things you like doing. Look at where your discretionary money's gone and follow the money. And you've got a much better chance of things working out for you and for you attracting more luck into your life, which everybody deserves.
All right, great advice for a lot of people. So go on out and create your own luck. I think a good way to start is to buy the book. Get Lucky Now. 7 Secrets of Lucky People. Dr. Stephen Simpson. Stephen, it's been absolutely great having you on from across the pond. Stay on as we go to a break so we can chat for a few seconds. This is Stu Taylor. We'll go to the subject of negotiation and body language.